Good morning, everyone, and happy Pride Month and happy early Juneteenth. My name is attorney Lisa Bloom. I'm here today with my client, Nicole Gilley, and Bloom firm attorney Sarah Bloom, who is also my daughter. Sarah Bloom will be giving a statement. Nicole Gilley will be giving a statement. I will be giving a statement, and then we are happy to answer questions. Sarah, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Bloom, and I'm a civil rights attorney at the Bloom firm. The Black Lives Matter movement has galvanized our country and opened people's eyes into the systemic racism that African Americans have to endure on a daily basis. The Black community not only has to endure this racism on the streets, from the public and the police, but also in the workplace. You're going to hear next from our client, Nicole Gilley, about her experience with race discrimination at Step Up on 2nd Street. Nicole's experience is not uncommon. Over 50% of African Americans report being discriminated against in the workplace. Studies show that racism has detrimental effects on a person's mental and physical health. Experiencing racism is linked with higher blood pressure, higher rates of depression, higher rates of anxiety, and low self-esteem. No one should have to walk into work and feel unsafe because of their race. We stand with Nicole in her fight against this injustice. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Next up is our client, Nicole Gilley. Nicole?
Thank you so much for being here. My name is Nicole Gilley, and I'm here to share my experience while employed at Step Up on 2nd. Before I begin, I'd like to tell you who I am. I was born and mostly raised in Los Angeles. Growing up in a diverse city, I truly believe racism was something of the past. Also, racism was the last thing on my mind while growing up because I grew up chronically homeless. Being homeless meant that I was a prime target for bullies as I wore the same clothes to school daily. Despite all of these obstacles, I was still the first in my family to graduate from college. I am now working on my graduate degree from Pepperdine University. I was thrilled to get the opportunity to work for Step Up, an organization that serves a homeless population because of my firsthand experience of being homeless. Unfortunately, working at Step Up, I encountered an obstacle that I could not overcome, and that was my race. During my interview at Step Up on 2nd, I was forewarned of what was to come. I was told the last person that we hired was also African American, and he didn't work out, so that's what you're up against. Despite being told this, I accepted the job and hoped that this was a one-off comment. I was wrong. I was asked by a supervisor why I didn't have a more ethnic-sounding name. I was asked if my hair was real, and when I said yes, the supervisor responded with, "You're rare, aren't you?" And another instance, I was told by a supervisor that I wouldn't be safe around members of her family. It terrified me then, and it terrifies me now. Another incident occurred when I mentioned that no one in my family had any rhythm. A supervisor responded, "Well, I guess you're not Black then, huh? Do you think it has something to do with your people in Africa?" This particular comment was said in front of someone. Being that I had a witness, I felt that I could finally go to HR and share my experience. Much to my chagrin, HR told me that I had to go back and tell the supervisor to cease making the comments. A week after speaking with the supervisor, the team was called into a meeting where we were reprimanded for poor grammar. And the supervisor said, "We are not the individuals that we serve." Since I was once homeless and most of the members of that we serve are African community, I was saddened that a place that was supposed to care for homeless viewed for them in such a derogatory way. Unfortunately, HR never spoke with my witness. My harassment continued and retaliation began. Step Up then began to disregard and deny any verbal policy that we had been adhering to since I started working there. A supervisor began rerouting potential donors away from me and then giving them to her friend of 20 years. I'm speaking up today because our nation is involved in a much larger conversation, Black Lives Matter. I wanted to be recognized that as egregious as the things that were said to me, I'm not alone. Black women across the nation experience both macro and microaggressions daily in their workplace. Our experience in the workplace consists of deciding on whether we should speak up in meetings and risk being viewed as the angry Black woman or having to remain silent. Not only do Black Lives matter, but the quality of our Black lives matter. My quality of life suffered tremendously while working at Step Up. It got to a point where I wished I could remove the color of my skin while in the office so that I may be treated fairly. I went home crying most nights. I experienced severe anxiety at the prospect of going to work. I became withdrawn from friends and family and was placed on academic probation. all due to my workplace experience. Today, I join the likes of Gabrielle Union in publicly speaking up against racism and discrimination in the workplace. I want it to be clear that in my 26 years of working, I have never once taken stress leave. I loved my job. I love knowing what I did made a difference. And even though my experience has been negative, I still want those listening to know that I believe in what Step Up does. I, however, do not think that management cares about Black lives nor the quality of our Black lives.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. My name is attorney Lisa Bloom, and I'm very proud to represent Nicole Gilley. This is a time when we need to listen, truly listen to Black voices. When someone like Nicole Gilley has the courage to speak up and say, "You hurt me. You used racist language. Please stop. Please fix this." It is not enough to say that she must be the one to fix it, as Nicole says HR told her. It is not enough to say, "I was only joking," as Nicole says a manager did. Racism is a problem we must all fix because 400 years of this is 400 years too many. Nicole even wrote to the CEO who would not deal with her. The CEO found the time to draft a lukewarm statement of support for Black Lives Matter last week, saying in response to the George Floyd murder that respect, wellness, hope, and voice and choice are core to our work. But he could not see, he could not listen to his own employee, Nicole, calling out racism in his own backyard. Because this case is more than just about race discrimination. We can never forget intersectional bias against our LGBTQ friends of color, which includes Nicole. Nicole also felt unwelcome after hearing homophobic remarks at Step Up on Second, and she reported those as well. We stand with Nicole today because she should not have to endure this all alone. The country is at long last waking up because of brave Black voices, voices like Nicole's. For the rest of us, our job is to amplify those voices and be allies. Yesterday, we filed the intake form with the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing to begin the complaint process for Nicole. We demand that the agency aggressively investigate the case, and we will closely monitor it to make sure that they do. If you were a witness to any discrimination or harassment at Step Up on Second, either inside the organization or in its community work, please contact me. My website is thebloomfirm.com. Witnesses are important in every case. Black Lives Matter is about more than just words from executives posted on their websites. We demand that Step Up live its values by apologizing to Nicole and making this right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. If you have any further questions, you can feel free to reach out to our media liaison, which is Marcelino at thebloomfirm.com. And thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. And most of all, thank you, Nicole. Bye, everybody.